Hey, oh my God.
What is up, motherfuckers? We are back. We are the Murder Movies Podcast, part of the Slashing Cast Podcast Network.
It's in the game.
It's in my ass.
It's in Ken's ass.
It's in my ass.
It's in her Canadian ass.
Oh, whoa.
Ooh.
Canada.
How do Canadians say ooh? I just want to hear it in a really Canadian accent. Ooh, I don't
know how you would do that.
I don't know.
I think it would just take on, the same thing, you know?
Dude, you know what I've noticed is that now there are so many I come across Canadian content creators on Instagram all the time that basically their whole fucking shtick is just doing shoresy as like swearing about something and just being shoresy, and I'm just like,
Shoresy's awesome.
You guys are what? I know shoresy is awesome, and
that show is so much better.
What? In Discord the other night we watched in Katie's Discord we watched Goon the other night. I fucking love that movie.
Yeah, it's great.
Goon.
Did you see the second one?
No, I heard it was terrible though.
Well, it's not as good by any means, but it was fun to see. And Jay Baruchel came to the theater that I always go to. I got a sneak peek for it, and then got to meet Jay Baruchel, and I was like, "Hey, you're very skinny."
Did he direct the second one?
Yeah, he wrote and directed it, I think.
Oh, okay.
He's like a beanpole.
I was like, this is just like Shoresy the movie. When I know Goon came out way before Shoresy.
Oh,
but
Goon is fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it's such a good movie.
Gooning?
It's about a hockey goon whose whole Sean William Scott he's on a hockey team and his whole purpose is just to beat the shit out of dudes.
It's funny you mention that because I haven't watched the start of a hockey game ever. When I've been in a bar or something around here, they'll have a hockey game on. And I'm like, oh, okay. And maybe once or twice it's been in the background. Katz and his friends were watching the US versus Canada hockey game last night. And the puck dropped and a fight broke out.
Yep.
Puck dropped and a fight broke out.
Yep.
The puck dropped. 9 seconds went by. A fight broke out. And I was like, is this normal? And they were like, well, it's usually 2, maybe 3, but
I mean, Canada's not exactly
if there's people
happy
with beef on the ice though. And this is all the top players in the world, and they might have beef being on the same team in NHL, but now they're representing their country. So they're
well, now in Canada has beef with America, so it makes perfect sense.
Because did you hear where I don't know how we want to go in this. Did you hear where Trump said that Canada doesn't have any military and Canada needs protection, and that's why they need to team up? They need us, the U.S.
Team
to
America.
Step in. Yeah, I was like, they're planning for war here. Please.
Yeah, they don't realize that because they don't talk about it down here. But you watch enough Instagram reels and shit like that. Yeah.
To try to come back, and when I come back in March, them being like, nope, sorry,
can't go back.
What? You're not allowed to go back to
We
Canada.
don't take Americans here.
I almost think Kenya at some point you just have to get go elope. So it's not
I know we're planning this year at some point.
Yeah.
It'll happen this year. I thought about, because my parents are going to come up and visit in a few months. I thought about being like, hey,
you're here.
Let's do something now, and then we'll do something for the rest of the family later. But then everybody here can just all be together, and we'll do something later in Florida or whatever.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea because, the way this world is going, it's just get as many escape pods as possible, man. Just, okay. Let's on to cheerier things. What have you guys been up to? What have you been watching? Did you have a nice Valentine's Day, Ken?
Yeah, I did. We made magnets. We went to the ice
magnets.
rink.
How do they work, Ken?
Fuck if I know. We went to the ice rink so Katz could help his dad with something. We made a homemade dinner I cook every night, but Katz made steak, and then I tried to make these really good garlic cream mashed potatoes that I've made before, and I fucked them up massively. It was phenomenal.
Were they still tasty?
No, they absolutely were not. It was awful. And but yeah, we watched a movie. We watched Valentine's Day and just kind of laid around. And then I have been just burning through Dungeon Crawler Carl. I fucking love it so much. I'm on book 5. I
Building
read 400 pages yesterday because 5 is my favorite so far.
Yeah. Dude, those books
So
keep
good.
getting it's just like it's not even just like the writing gets significantly better. I think it gets better as the series goes on, but it's just that building of
Mhm.
everything where they're building on top of these characters and everything like that. And then they just keep giving you these like every book has like the one moment where you're at least one moment where you're like, you don't have to hit me in the feels like that. I don't
Yeah.
need that.
Oh.
I don't need that.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
There are plenty of those, and it's just like,
I feel
yeah,
like
like
5 has had the most of those so far.
they increase more because it's just the stakes of everything just,
Yeah.
blow up and everything like that, but so, yeah. I'm glad you're enjoying those books are so Katie is slowly I think Katie's still on book 2. Katie started, like, a month or 2 before you, and she's, like, slowly and they're in Florida during for their love burn right now, so,
Oh,
um
is she doing the audiobooks or is she reading them?
no, she's reading.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing,
She's
I'm
re
reading them.
Yeah.
I sat,
The
like,
audiobooks are
yesterday for, like,
amazing.
7 hours and just read or 6 hours and did nothing but read, and then at, like,
Yeah.
11:30, Katz was like, "Have you slept at all?" And I was like, "No," and he's like, "You've just been reading?" And I was like, "Yeah," and he goes, "I think you need to go to bed," and I was like, "Yeah, I think you're right."
Dude, can this happen to me, and tell me how many times this ever happened to you yesterday. I was sitting there streaming, and my chat wouldn't shut up about pizza and made me order a pizza because they wouldn't shut the fuck up about pizza. It was like they're like, "Pizza, pizza, pizza," and I'm like, I was already hungry, and then, like, I ended up ordering a pizza because those fuckers wouldn't shut up about pizza, and then
You know, I
and then
order pizza all the time here. I just, and sometimes I order sushi and fried chicken, and
Canadian sushi sounds horrifying.
we don't have delivery. We don't have there's a pizza place in town, but it's $75 for a fucking pizza. Like,
Do they give you a hand job too?
no,
They're like,
Is it
"Here's your
good?
pizza. Here's your hand
not
job."
really. I mean, it's good, but it's not $75 worth, and it's like a fuckload of toppings, right? Like, it's like
To
that much on
justify
the
the fucking
toppings.
price, I guess?
Yeah, but it's not that good.
'Cause
Dude, I paid
pizza is
That's when we
about
were
ratios. Like, if you throw off the ratio of a pizza, you fuck up the whole
exactly.
experience. If you're just putting a sandwich on top of a pizza, it's a fucking sandwich. It's not a pizza.
It's when we were
man,
in the States, Katz and I and my mom and my aunts, we all went out to dinner at a really nice steakhouse. My aunt bought our steak and, like, it was so good, and we saved leftovers, and we went back and we got super fucking shit-faced and ordered pizza at, like, 11:30 at night, and my aunt was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "We don't have pizza delivery back home." And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "I haven't had, like, shitty, pizza in forever." And Katz was like, "Yeah, all we do is the frozen shit." So we're standing in the road, dancing around, waiting for the pizza delivery.
The
ugh,
little things when you live in a
yeah.
small town.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, Ken doesn't get to watch a movie, so, I mean
Yeah.
It's funny, like, I have, like, family that all grew up in, like, small towns, and when you talk to people that have always lived in a small town, they're like, "Oh, yeah, we just got a Subway." And
Yeah,
it's like that's, like, world-breaking news for
we do.
their town.
We do actually, we have a Subway.
Yeah, I know, but it's, like, a big deal for a small town.
It
It's
is.
funny.
It's a big
Yeah, I know.
deal. It's, like, the only fast food we have here.
Yeah,
oh,
and it's always Subway for some reason. They just are like, "Yeah, we'll
because
just go in
Subways
there."
are it's you watch stories about Subway, it's because of how they franchise them.
I was
They're
gonna say, I
pieces of
bet their
shit.
franchising is
Yeah,
cheap.
it is literally like, it's a giant ripoff, like, compared to everything, it is. Last week Tonight did a whole thing about it. That and their bread is, like, half plastic, so, like
I
Not
think it's different
anymore.
in
It used to be
Canada.
yoga
Yeah.
mats or something.
yeah. Whatever. Dude, they used to do, like, drug deals out of the one by my place, and since weed has been legal here forever, you know what they're selling, like, meth and shit like that, and I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm not going back to Subway. Take this
Oh,
foot long,
yes, they
motherfucker."
love meth.
Wham!
I haven't had Subway in so long, and
haven't.
I don't ever really care to have it again, to be honest.
What?
We had it for the first time in months the other night because I was like, "I'm not really that hungry and I don't feel like cooking," and we were like, "Okay, we'll get Subway and then we'll eat on it later," and I was like, "Okay." It
They
wasn't
were like,
terrible.
"Why is our stock going down when our $5 footlong is now $15?"
Right? 2 people to go to Subway here, it's like
Dude,
$35.
you okay,
Premium.
at this point, and I was talking about this with Katie the other night, like, before I, like, took her over, like, you literally we went to a nicer restaurant, and we spent, for the 3 of us, like, as much as you would go like, not that much more than you would going to Subway or like, that's how much fucking fast
Yeah.
food is now. Like, it was like,
Yeah, it's
we had
ridiculous.
3 people with, like, $15 meals and like, sandwiches and shit, and it's like, the you're doing you maybe $5, $10 more than it would've been
Mhm.
going to Taco Bell or something like that. You're just like,
Yeah, but
dude,
Taco Bell has fucking Baja Blast, so it's
yeah,
worth it.
exactly. I
Taco
mean,
Bell has creamy jalapeno sauce.
I'll give you some creamy
There's
jalapeno
no
sauce.
Taco Bells in my city anymore. They used to be like right by my place in like one of those half and half ones, like KFC Taco Bell things, and that's like the
I
ones you
got the
find the
Pizza
most.
Hut. I got the
But
Taco
like
Bell. I got
now
the
they're just fucking
combination
nowhere.
Pizza Hut and
I
Taco
used
Bell.
Yeah, we don't
I
have
fucking
Taco Bell here. We have, in one of the bigger cities, we have Taco Time, I think?
yeah.
Yeah.
I
And we've
used to
got some
design
fast food in
stuff
the
for
bigger
Taco Time.
cities.
That's the Canadian equivalent, and it's just not as good as Taco Bell.
I don't know. I know
Just
Katie
is not.
used to work at Taco Time in high school, like, because she lived up in, like, Washington. So a lot of
Yeah.
your
Mm,
Canadian things, like, drain down into Washington.
yeah.
So, yeah. Ugh,
Diarrhea.
so I mean, Mexican food is diarrhea, right? I mean,
It
let's
just
be
like
real.
No, it's
drips
not.
down.
I don't understand why everybody I've never understood this. People are like, "Oh, I had Taco Bell and I shit myself for days." Why? What are you getting at Taco Bell
They're not
that's
talking about the
making you
meth
sick?
that they had with it though, so
Yeah, I think it's the meth.
I think if I ever get upset tummy after Taco Bell, it's because of my fucking lactose intolerance. Like, if I eat
Yeah.
cheese, the next day I am shitting, and it's not
It
gonna be like it
depends on
doesn't
the cheese
like
for me.
yeah. Like, I had pizza yesterday. My butt was a little angry with me at one point today, and it's okay now, though. It's okay now.
I remember when we were in middle school, we have a Taco Bell in Pigeon Forge that's, like, right next to the church, and we would go there, like, before Wednesday church stuff or whatever, and one time my friend was like, "We shouldn't go there anymore," and I was like, "Why?" And they were like, "They're putting drugs in the meat," and I was like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "They're sprinkling weed in with the meat." And as a kid, I was like, "Oh my god, that's terrible." As an adult, I'm like, "Nobody's wasting fucking weed sprinkling it
Yeah, no
on
Yeah.
shit.
ground beef
Dude,
at Taco Bell. What
and do
the
you know how
fuck?"
sweet it's like that's the thing is, like, people, like, they're putting edibles in your kids' Halloween no pothead is wasting their edibles on your stupid fucking little cum pets. No, 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 no. Okay. Let's dive in and talk about 13 Ghosts because 13 Ghosts is amazing. What year was 13 Ghosts? 13 was like what
2001, I think.
90. What
Yeah,
is it?
2001.
Okay, dude. I had watched this at Christmas at Halloween time, and it's funny how well this movie actually holds up. And okay, there's one thing that doesn't hold up in this movie. It's where they actually use CG, which is the fucking horrible spinning contraption at
Yeah.
the end of the
Yeah.
movie. But besides that, is generally pretty good because it's all practical effects. I mean, it's just like
Yeah,
doing
it would be neat though to have them redo it with better practical effects. Like,
what?
I was
Yeah, but
talking
they don't.
about it earlier. I would love to see this remade, which I didn't realize that there was a 1960s version,
Yeah,
and Josh had mentioned it, and I got to digging into it, and it's really cool because they used a, thing that was called Illusiono technology. It was a special viewer that was needed to see the ghosts. A lot of people thought that it was a 3D film because of the red and blue filter, but it actually wasn't,
yeah.
because your eyes would look through the same one, and it would, like, cause the images to intensify. It looks really cool.
Well, that's because that guy who made the original was this dude who his whole thing was like it was doing spectacular things like crazy. Like they weren't even movies. They were movies, but it was experiences. Like so he did that. He did House on Haunted Hill, and he would shove a
Yeah.
skeleton would fly over, and then the movie where the I can't even think of the name of it, but like Vincent Price was in it, and actually it was the first movie they ever had someone taking acid in the movie because he took acid in it. It was in the 50s, and but in the theaters they would put certain seats would have vibrators on them, and like you would so you were supposed to be scared, and it would like your certain seats would vibrate, and they would hire actors. So this guy, the guy producer who did all this stuff, was fucking bonkers. And then I think they kind of started like I know a lot of people kind of look at Texas Chainsaw Massacre as being the one that really started, but it was like this and like House on Haunted Hill and stuff like because they
Yeah.
remade them. There was like
Totally.
those, yeah, from like the 50s. They were remaking them, and then Texas Chainsaw, and then a lot of the slashes got remade. But I mean,
This movie has like a special place in my heart though. Like cuz when it came out I was in high school, and I remember I was playing hooky from high school one day, and I went over to my friend's house that I worked with at Walmart at the time, and
yeah,
like she was in like all my classes too, so and she would like drive me to school and stuff, and we would just smoke cigarettes in their car and drive to so we just played hooky and watched this at her place, and I don't know, like that was just like a cool day because it was like
yeah.
snowing like crazy. I was like, who the fuck wants to go to school anyways? You want to just hang out? She's like, yeah, let's watch fucking 13 Ghosts. Yes. So like
That's
it's
awesome.
such a good day and such a good movie too. I was like, man, it was like, yeah, it was a
It's funny.
bookmark day in my life for sure.
It's funny because this like Shannon Elizabeth was like she had done she you ever see her first real movie was like Jack Frost, which
Oh,
she
she was in
gets
Jack Frost, really?
yeah, she not the slasher one, the like the
No.
directed DVD. Yeah. She was the one who got graped by Jack Frost in the shower, like with his carrot nose. He kind of graped her, and yeah. So a lot of her like what year did American Pie come out? They like
I was
is that
looking at that.
Was it before this?
1999.
Yeah, it was just before this. Yeah.
Jack
yeah, so
Frost
a
was
couple years.
97.
So she did a lot of horror movies like pretty early on. Like
Red
that was
vs.
like
Evil, Evicted, Scary Movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
She she's pretty good. Like, but this dude, there's another thing that I remembered when watching this movie where I hate the little fucking kid in this movie. The little kid in this movie is such a little bastard, and he's like
They use him
scootering
as like a
around us.
stupid plot device though. Like without him being
Yeah,
dumb, then it wouldn't like progress and make them do things in order for this to keep going. So
yeah. You would think that the house made out of glass would be easier to find people, but no, they can't find each other. They can't find anyone in the house
they
made out of
say that
glass.
the dad makes a comment about it. We're never gonna find him. This place is just too big.
But everything's glass. Oh
I
man,
love best line in the movie though. Oh, where did the lawyer go? Did he split?
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
laughed way
yeah,
too hard.
yeah.
it is it's such a dad joke line, and it's like but I
This
love it.
movie
And
holds up so well because it was holding on to the 90s like aesthetic,
yeah,
and because it's it's early 2000s, so it's still in that like mindset of making movies, and this is studio movie because it's a remake of a movie that already had an audience,
yeah,
so they were
yeah.
willing to pump some money in this. Do you know the like budget of this one?
42.6 million.
Yeah, like it felt
That's a
like
lot.
that.
Mhm.
Dude, you think about that now, that like you don't get. I mean, when we talked about it, like Malignant had some. I still every time we say that movie had a 60
17 or
million dollar.
something.
No, it was like
16, 17.
60 mil. It was like
60.
$60 million. Yeah, like I think we talked
For
about Malignant
Malignant?
have. Wasn't it
Holy,
$60 million?
no
I
way,
think we
that's
talked about that
crazy
before.
amounts.
But like, yeah, new horror movies, like if you get like more than 20, I mean, we talked about like the one
Yeah, they
last
get
week.
9
40.
because of Blumhouse. Like that's the going rate, 9, and if you're lucky, you get like 13.
40 million for Malignant.
Okay, so I knew it
That's
was a
still
lot of
a
money. So
fucking lot of money. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
especially
lot of
for
money for.
nowadays horror.
Well, I mean, that movie would have easily made its money back if it had have come out during
Did it
fucking
not?
COVID, right? I mean, I don't know if it made because it was one of those ones that went to streaming right away too. Because it came out in 2022 during COVID and all this shit, right?
Worldwide, it made in box office 34.9
Yeah,
million.
see, didn't make its money back. Yep. Because it was on fucking HBO, right? Like or Max at day one. But yeah, that's a lot of money, man. And it's like I you're right, Josh. Like one of the things about this movie is like when this came out, they could have easily just made bad CG all over the movie. And obviously there is some bad CG in it, but like it is all practical effects for the
And
mostly
the
practical
set
effects.
too, like the glass, the
Yeah.
set, like it's all so, and that's why this movie works so well because it is so over the top in everything. The opening scene is
Yeah.
like something out of Jurassic Park meets
Yeah.
something Universal Monsters, and it's so
Yeah.
like overacted and over crazy, and it works because they went all in on that with it.
You know what that opening
Mhm.
scene reminds me of? It reminds me of the end of Nightmare 3 when they're like finding Freddy's bones in the fucking the graveyard and like the dog pisses fire and all that shit and
right.
like
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm like, which
the
one?
end of
They all mesh together. I'm like, was that 4 or was that 3?
I thought that was 3, but yeah, whatever, 3 or 4. I think it's 3, but like that's the kind of thing that it made me think of. It's like but like this movie, man, one, we all know Matthew Lillard is a fucking god, and he's so good in this movie as like
Yeah, it's so perfectly Matthew Lillard. It's like
Did
I
this is
think
what made him get typecast for shit like this now.
yeah.
Well, he
Oh
went through
no.
I watched a thing, I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast or not. I watched an interview with him or a speech that he was giving about like following your dreams or whatever. Apparently, after he played Shaggy for Scooby-Doo, he wasn't getting roles at all. They had to sell their house because they couldn't afford it. They had to
Yeah.
downsize. They had to do all this stuff. His father-in-law was like, "Come work for me," and he did something in finance. It was like selling trust funds or some shit. And he was like, "No, I want to stick with what I do." And he
Yeah.
finally started picking up jobs again. I was like,
Yeah.
"Holy shit. What a wild thought process."
Well, I mean, he started off with all these horror movies. I mean, like in this first
And
like between
Hackers, my
3
favorite movie
yeah.
ever.
Hackers is amazing. But like and dude, SLC Punk is one of those movies
Oh,
that
so good.
I watched once and I'm like, "Okay, this movie was amazing. Never again. I will never
Yeah, it's
watch
so
this.
sad.
I never want to watch Heroin Bob again die. Like
Yeah,
I
Bob.
never want to yeah, like it's one of those movies, dude, like fucking in Katie's Discord that night, they put on fucking The Notebook and I'd never actually seen The Notebook because I watched A Walk to Remember in high school. And that movie, I was like, fuck you, Nicholas Sparks. All you doing is like, it's like an hour and a half of like setup to make you fucking destroy you. And I knew what was coming in that movie and it still fucking destroyed me. And it's like, it's that thing where like, okay, you can watch a sad movie and it could be really good, but I don't want to go back to it, right? Like, I don't rewatch sad movies. I'll watch 13 Ghosts all the time, even though it has one of the dumbest titles of all time. And I mean, the whole 13 in the middle of it is the dumbest shit in the world. Because I was like looking for it on your Plex, Josh, and I'm like,
Which one?
13 Ghosts.
13? Oh.
Yeah, and if you type out 13 Ghosts, it doesn't show it on your Plex, Josh. You have to actually type in THIR13EN.
Or you just go to the T's and look for it.
I just typed in number 13 and Ghosts and it came up right away.
Did you? Okay. I mean, that makes sense too, but
I don't
Jesus
know.
Christ. Lilith is sitting right here and she just burped. This is the gassiest dog in the world. And she's just like, bleh. I'm like,
13 Ghosts has 19% on Rotten Tomatoes and the audience score is only 49%. People are sleeping. People are sleeping.
Okay. I still think, one of the things that makes me laugh about this movie is watching Monk be the hero of the movie.
Yeah.
It's like anytime he's in something relatively like, I don't know, not Monk, my brain is like, oh.
I've never even seen Monk. I just know of him as the OCD Monk, character and like of him as Monk and everything. Like, I'm like, this dude is the least believable hero in the whole world. And it's just like, it's like, but that besides it, like he pulls it off and he does a really good job with it. And it's just like, everyone in this movie understands the assignment and fucking I think the only other thing that's kind of like, I don't know if I liked it in this movie is the chick being like the double crossing bitch. Like her
Yeah,
being
the third act
that,
reveal of who
yeah,
people
it just
actually are, and
and
he's
I'm like,
not actually a ghost.
I mean, I knew he wasn't actually a ghost, but like, I mean, I don't remember the first time watching this and going, "Oh
What?
yeah, he like, oh shit, he's like, I don't know. I don't know how he got
Whoa!
mind blown. You mean he's not dead?
No
Holy shit.
way!
Fuck, man. Fuck, fuck, fuck.
Holy shit! Fuck, I gotta stop.
Oh my god, they're eating her, and then they're
Oh.
gonna eat me.
There was a time, like, so when that movie was like super trending and they made that documentary about Troll 2,
Yeah,
that was like the heyday of the like movie reboot times with my buddy Ben and I, and we would like
yeah,
go to the festivals and dress up almost like Dumb and Dumber because I had a white suit and he had a blue suit, not orange, but still, I was
yeah,
white and blue suits, and we were go up and interview the directors and all the stars that came with the movies and stuff. And
yeah,
we had like some sort of anniversary episode coming up, and we wanted to like try and get Troll 2 and bring it to like our indie movie house. And like I looked fully into it, how much it was going to be to get and to host it there. Like it was going to be like an actual thing that we did, and then it just ended up falling through because it was going to be fucking lots of money to do. And I was like, shit, I don't know if we could justify this, but it probably
yeah,
like because the buzz was there, like I think we would have made our money back at least. But yeah, that would have
yeah.
been fun.
I mean, or you could do The Room, and they would come and throw spoons at
Oh
you.
my god,
Well,
they
they do
do
that
that
now.
at our indie theater in Knoxville. They do The Room, like, a couple times a year, and they have some of the actors come out and do, like,
They
hangouts
Yeah,
and commentary and
like
whatever.
right before the biopic came out, Greg Sestero came and brought his book and then did a live reading of a script that was actually worse than The Room live with actors on the stage first, and then we did The Room and
I
everyone was throwing the spoons and stuff.
you have to
It was
go,
fun.
how would that be worse? How is it
Oh, it was
possible to have
worse.
a
It
worse
was it
script?
was
I
actually
know.
fucking worse. It was crazy.
Okay, which one of the ghosts do you guys think is the best ghost?
Boobies.
The princess, yeah. Did you know she was in
The
makeup for 5 hours?
Like she has the best scenes anyways. Like the second best would be the one with the cage on her head. She has like
the
the
Jackal,
most
yeah.
the most fun like other scenes, but I think like yeah, the
Dude,
princess gets the most like
She gets a lot
crazy
of screen
grotesque.
time.
Yeah.
I
Her
feel like
her story is really pretty too. Her name is Dana. She did not believe in her own natural beauty. Abusive boyfriends fueled her low self-esteem, which led to unneeded plastic surgery for imagined defects. Eventually, she got a job working for a plastic surgeon, getting paid in treatments rather than cash. Alone at a clinic one night, she tried to perform a surgery on herself, but wound up blinding herself in one eye and permanently mutilating herself beyond saving. She committed
What?
suicide in a bathtub by slashing her body repeatedly with a butcher knife. When she was found, people noted that she was as beautiful in death as she had been in life. Her ghost is naked, still carrying the knife she killed herself with and showing all the wounds. The insides, the walls of her cube are splattered with her blood. In the bathroom scene, the phrase, "I'm sorry," is visible on the floor in blood. Subtitles also reveal that the blurred hissing speech that announces her arrival is whispering, "I'm sorry." It was also written on her suicide note. When her cube opens and she advances towards Ben Moss, who backs up into an open doorway to get away from her, is killed when it snaps shut on him.
what? Dude, that's metal as shit. I was gonna say that, like, I think that's crazy though. Like, I think one of the weirdest things for this film to me that is just like with the ghosts at least is that they have that whole opening scene with the Juggernaut, and then the Juggernaut's barely in
Mm.
I'm the
the
juggernaut,
house.
bitch.
Don't you know who I am, dude? I can't tell you how much I love the Juggernaut in Deadpool 2 compared to that shit show.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
oh, what I think she's awesome. I think the Jackal might be a little over the top. I like the BDSM girl who has a neck tied around or a tied around her neck.
She was
Um,
killed by her boyfriend. She was a high school cheerleader, and he was a football player, and she cheated on him. So he strangled her and buried her on the 50-yard line of the football field.
that doesn't seem like a good spot to bury someone.
No, it
Who shot
doesn't.
who shot the little bastard in the head with an arrow?
That would have been one day a neighbor, his name was Billy Michaels, a boy who was a fan of cowboy films. One day a neighbor found a real steel arrow in his parents' closet. He challenged Billy to a duel with Billy using a toy gun. However, his plaything was no match for the arrow, and he died when the neighbor shot him through the back of the head.
It reminds me of
Jesus.
A Christmas Story.
Reminds me
mean-
of the time my cousin shot a kid in the leg with an arrow.
Holy shit.
Jesus Christ.
America.
Now kids doing this. I'm the ghost that actually I'm most interested in is the mom and the baby person that
Mhm.
I'm very confused about.
Oh yeah.
They're the ghosts of Margaret and Harold Shelburne. She was an attraction at a carnival due to her being only 3 feet tall. She was
Okay.
raped by the tall man, another carnival freak. Her son Harold, the great child, was born as a result. He eventually weighed over 300 pounds. Harold spoiled and was raised as his mother's protector and kept a childlike mindset to the point where he wore diapers his entire life. One day, some of the other carnival employees decided to play a practical joke on Harold and kidnapped his mother. Enraged, he set out to look for her, but when he caught up to the culprits, he found that his mother had accidentally suffocated to death in the bag she was kept in. Harold killed the kidnappers with an axe, keeping their remains and displaying them for paying customers. Later, when the owner of the carnival found out what Harold had done, he ordered a mob of people to tear Harold apart. Their ghosts were always together, and Harold still wields an axe and wears a bib stained with food that his mother has spoon-fed to him.
see the
There's an
act-
alternate version in the DVD said that their deaths were caused by the great child rolling over on the dire mother while being asleep, and then him starving to death.
Oh my
You see-
god.
You see the axe in one screen, like one scene, like you see him holding it kind of like for a little bit, like when they're in the back of the hallway.
Mhm.
The puke makes me think of like one of the the soup kid from Sixth Sense, like that, like the girl that was getting poisoned or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it kind of made me think of. But like the hair, that also explains why his hair looks like it's dyed or something. Like because he was in the freak show, so they probably played it up and
I
to
thought
make
he was
him look.
bald.
No, he had fuzzy hair on top of his head.
Oh, okay.
Didn't he, Josh? Am I
Fuzzy
crazy?
hair. No, I don't know. I don't remember.
He had pubes on
I
his head.
just watched it like when Kim was like, "Oh, I'll watch it right now." I was like, "Oh, I had like maybe 25 minutes left when you said I'll watch it now." So we were
Yeah.
watching it at the same time, and I
Simultaneous watching.
Rod and I did that
Ooh.
one time. There's like a
We did
watch
it
together
twice.
feature. Oh, did we do
Yeah,
it
we did
twice?
it. Yeah, I think we did it a couple times. Yeah,
And then we were on
like,
Discord chatting. It was actually really fun doing that. I don't know why we
Yeah.
didn't do that more, because then we could get each other's fucking commentary during the watch, and that really
Yeah.
helps influence. Like, I was like, really, you not liking this part? Like, he's like coughing
Oh.
at weird parts, and I'm just like, weird. Like, I wouldn't have thought you would find this like
Yeah.
a coughing part,
Yeah.
but that's funny. That makes it even
I mean,
funnier.
we would do it again.
Tuft of white hair right here. You're right.
Yeah.
Like a
It
clown.
looked like, yeah. And then there's the chick who looks like she died in a stock, like a stock or something like that. Like she had her hands in like a stock or something like that. Maybe her head was in there too. I don't know. There are obviously some ghosts that like obviously had
They hardly got
way
any
less.
camera time.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
when they're going around in circles, I was like, there's how many? Like I only met like 7 of those, I think.
The Pilgrimess is who you're thinking of that was
Yeah.
locked in the stocks.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like one of them, like the fucking wife was just there for shock and awe, right? And to save the kid.
How
or
come all
whatever.
the other ghosts, like this is the one thing that I gotta be like, okay, all the other ghosts, when they would talk, but she would just stand there and it would be like, ghostly, like, oh, you gotta
Yeah, like
leave, and talking
mouth
through like
wasn't
the radio
talking.
and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
like, why doesn't she just fucking talk like everyone else talks? Like, I don't get it.
I don't know, man. I like the fact that she's even a ghost is like
Even Matthew
more like
Lillard, when he's a ghost at the end, he's like, yo, you gotta go and take care of your kids, all right? I'm gonna just clean my glasses
dude, yeah,
forever.
dude, he looks like the biggest pimp in the world. That
I
scene.
know.
He's like, I'm Matthew Lillard, and I'm gonna like not be all like weird and fucked up because of like seeing all this shit now. And now I'm
'Cause I
like
am
finally
one.
at rest. Yeah, because I'm at rest, and I don't ever have to worry about touching someone and seeing fucked
Yeah,
up
don't
shit.
touch me.
I'm you.
Dude,
Don't touch my
I also
shoulder. Don't touch my shoulder, okay?
am I the only
That's
one who goes, this motherfucker just kind of went like, yeah, I'm gonna get killed. I don't care. Like he didn't even try. He's like, oh, it can only fit one person here. So I'm gonna just die.
just
Well, he knew
Like,
it was coming.
suplexed
Yeah.
to death
Yeah.
by a wall.
He was suplexed to death and then like backbreakered, like it was like the Undertaker was bending him in half around a ring.
I'm so like underwhelmed by the Juggernaut. I'm like, he's supposed to
Yeah.
be this like crazy thing, and I'm like, he's the fucking worst.
He
Wasn't
doesn't do anything.
Yeah, he's just slow.
I mean, he fucks up a lot of people in that opening scene, and they build it up, and then like it's like the Jackal's the scary one, and after that, like they like
yeah,
okay, I need the Jackal story in a little bit, but like the Jackal and then the hammer, the black guy with the just
he
makes me think
looks
of,
cool. Like he's got some cool fucking like
he's like pulling railroad spikes out of his. He makes me think of that old like urban legend of the black, like the former slave or something who like was like trying to compete against the machine that would press railroad spikes, and then he did it until he died. I can't even think of the guy's the old urban legend or the old like story about him, but like yeah, that's who he kind of reminded me of.
I don't know. I don't know. Like now that I think about this, I think the reason I love this movie so much is because of Matthew Lillard, and I've always been
Yep.
such a huge fan of his. And to hear that story you just said about his real life, that he wasn't getting fucking like, I would go to a movie just to see it because he was in it. And there's not very many actors that have a pull like
Yeah.
that. Like Leonardo DiCaprio is one for me. He kills it every time. It doesn't matter. He can lead a movie, and I'll go and see it, even if it's the one that I'm like, man. Even if it's a period piece, I'll go and see it because Leo's in it.
You know who's been like that lately for me is Pedro Pascal. Like
Yeah,
Pedro
but-
Pascal.
yeah,
Like
it's fun.
ever since the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent,
Oh my
which I had
God, it's
already
so
loved
good.
him before that. That movie is just like, dude,
It's
I love him.
perfection. It's
Yeah,
perfection.
it is such a perfect fucking movie, and I love it.
But
so
like,
much.
I'm glad that Matthew Lillard is getting like, it's the whole like 20, 30 year like resurgence of music and movies and pop culture
yeah,
things. So like the grunge wear, the baggier pants are all in now. Matthew Lillard is back. All the pop punk and fucking grunge and new metal that was huge in that time is back. Like it's all these things. It's full circle, and I love seeing him again because he's like Peter Pan and doesn't age, and I love that. And I'm like, it's just more of my favorite. Give it to me. Yeah,
dude, Bloodywood is just basically Indian new metal.
awesome. I love it.
Do you know Bloodywood?
No, but I'm gonna check it out because that sounds fucking
Dude, they're like
amazing.
They're like pretty big, man. They're like they have the one of their singers is this bald dude, and every time he like sing raps, I just think of like 90s new metal, and I'm just like,
Nice.
I can't believe you don't know Bloodywood. Yeah, they're Indian.
I'm sure
metal.
I probably have heard it, but I also just press play on Spotify, and I don't.
Yeah,
Like I told you the story. I didn't even know the songs of my like what they were named in my own bands. Like it was a big fucking ADHD weird block. I had.
yeah, dude, names. Yeah, I'm real bad with names with my ADHD. Like I'll recognize
I can't
faces
remember.
for days.
I
but,
just say,
like,
"Hey, man."
names. That's why I'm like, hey, a person, hey,
No,
dude.
just hey, dude. Yeah, hey, man. How's it going? Yo, it's been a long time, dude. But if I'm there with like my significant other or something, they always know it's like I'm not going to introduce you because of this, and you have to be on my side with this, where you reach out and say, "Oh, I'm Diana," and then I can look like an asshole, and I will be like, "Oh shit, I'm such an asshole." But you're helping me know their name every single time, and this is just
Yep.
the thing that I have set up, and then
Yeah,
I
I'm
forget
terrible
their
with
name
names.
instantly after anyway, so it doesn't
Oh,
even
I do
fucking matter.
too. I do too. I met the neighbors' little girls finally that have been here. They just moved in full time. Like the little girls moved in full time.
Yeah.
They told me their names, immediately gone. And I had taken cookies over to meet them, and I don't know what the hell I was thinking. The
I love
best
it.
way to do that, like, for, like, that instance is eventually I'll be like, "Hey, neighbor, I'm putting together something for the girls. Can you tell me how to spell their names?"
Oh,
It works. I mean,
that's
I
okay,
don't
tricky
wanna
and
misspell
great.
them.
I need the Jackals story now, and
Okay.
then because we're just gonna go through all of
He
them
was
that are at least cool.
Yes,
11. He was the
great
ghost
content.
of Ryan Kunn, who was born in 1887 to a prostitute. Ryan had an insatiable lust for women, rape, and murdering prostitutes. Wanting to be cured, he committed himself to Borehamwood Asylum, but after attacking a nurse, he was put in a straitjacket and thrown in a padded room. After years of imprisonment, he went completely insane, scratching at the walls so violently his fingernails were torn off. The doctors kept him permanently bound in a straitjacket, tying it together, tying it tighter when he acted out, causing his limbs to contort horribly. Still fighting to free himself, Ryan gnawed through the jacket until the doctors finally locked his head in a metal cage and sealed him away in a dark basement cell. There he grew to hate any kind of human contact, screaming madly and cowering whenever approached. When a fire broke out in the asylum, everyone but Ryan escaped. He chose to stay behind and face the fire. As a ghost, his arms are free from his jacket and the bars of his cage are ripped outwards, showing he may have escaped the building again sometime before the fire started, and his cage may have heated up enough to where he could have ripped it open before the fire consumed him.
I thought that was a woman, to be completely honest, because unless I think he had longer hair because of
Mhm.
obviously the story you just told, and I thought it was a woman. I thought the scariest ghost was a woman ghost, but yeah. Ugh, man. Yeah, the ghost is like everything in this movie is with the practical effects and everything is just really dope, and I just it
They don't go over the
you
top
like
with trying to make them ghosty. They're just like,
no.
they're people that have fucking prosthetics and shit on that
I
come and
think
go.
I think the hammer might have been the most over the top because, like,
Yes, for
there
sure.
were so many spikes in him that it was just like, "How is this
Um,
motherfucker how d"
I wanna
yeah,
say his character or his actor was supposed to be somebody else, and dude didn't show up, so they just put him. Yeah, Herbert Duncanson, who plays the Hammer, was originally not hired as an actor for the film, but as a stand-in reference for test shots. When the original actor cast for the role never showed up, he was given the role of that ghost in a last-minute replacement, as there was no time to hold auditions for a recast.
dude, how do
That's
you just
crazy.
not show up for a fucking movie? Like, I
Especially
don't
a
know about
big budget like studio flick too. Like that's I want to know
and
who
I
that guy
know
was and what his career was like after that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird, like, because like, you never know in Hollywood, right? Like, the guy who I don't know if you guys know this, like, Twin Peaks, the guy who played the villain in the show was, like, just some lighting dude who got accidentally caught in a scene, and then, like, David Lynch liked his crazy look so much that he made him the villain of, like, the entire show. Like,
No way.
that shit ki yeah. If you look at him, you understand why, because he looks fucking crazy with his long white hair, but,
What was the name of the
yeah,
villain?
I don't know. Is it just a the and I don't know. I don't know what his
Was
name was.
it Big Ed Hurley?
Maybe it's like a dude with skinny looking dude with long white hair, like would have
Oh.
been, yeah. So I don't know what his name was, like, but yeah, it's that kind of thing where you just go, what? How do you give up on something like that when you're obviously going out for auditions and shit like that? And I assume he was I mean, if Ken tells a story here in a little bit, like I assume it had something to do with right around like railroad times because he was covered in fucking railroad spikes, right?
Oh, I see. This guy's name was Frank Silva.
Yeah.
That's
I don't
cool.
Yeah, so that's the crazy story. I mean, that's the thing, like, David Lynch isn't about, like, storytelling as mu wasn't about storytelling because he just died. He was about, like, images and weird feelings and all that shit. That's why I think part of the reason I was saying this the other day, like, why his Dune movie fucked up so bad, because that's not the kinda director David Lynch was, but yeah. What was the Hammer's backstory, Ken? What? The Hammer.
Wasn't that the one we just did? No.
No, the Hammer.
Oh,
The
that's
Ham
right. He's the ghost of the African American blacksmith George Markley, who lived in a small town in the 1890s. He was wrongfully accused of stealing by a white man from his town, and then, when threatened with exile, refused to leave the town. A gang led his accuser. A gang led by his accuser hung his wife and children, burned their bodies in revenge. In revenge, George used his sledgehammer to beat the culprits to death. He then subjected to a cruel form of frontier justice by the townsfolk, being chained to a tree and executed by having railroad spikes driven into his body with his own sledgehammer. As a final touch, they cut off his hand and attached the sledgehammer, handle and all, to the hand that was cut off. His ghost is seen with the railroad spikes protruding from his
Yeah.
body and a sledgehammer for a left hand.
It reminds me of Candyman. Like,
Totally.
yeah, it's got that town justice, and then they, instead of a hook, they did a sledgehammer. That had to have been inspired by Candyman, right? Like, same
Well,
time frame.
No, 1960 is the original movie.
What? But I wonder how many of these characters were similar to the 1960 original. That's what I'm saying. Did they, like? I know
It's a
these
remake.
characters were way more. Yeah, but that doesn't mean the ghost, dude. You think a 1960 movie had fucking Tits McGee in it, Josh? Like, there was no
but
titties in a 1960 movie.
It doesn't matter that she has tits. Aesthetically, it could have been the same, like backstory. She just would be wearing clothes when she died.
No. Tits, Josh. Jesus,
Well, that's why.
Lilith.
Yeah, like, come on, come on
Yeah,
now,
yeah. Come
come
on
on
now.
now, come on now.
I wonder how, like, the ghosts compare,
No.
like, from the original. I don't know. I've never seen the original. That's an interesting thought, though. Um,
Yeah, I had never seen it either. That's why I got excited when Josh mentioned it. So I went and looked and then found out that you have to have the glasses for it.
the glasses to see the spoopy ghosts. The spoopy ghosts.
Spooky, spooky.
Spooky pooky. Dude, there's, like, I mean, this movie isn't like what you would ever call a masterpiece, but it is like a total movie that, like, knows what it is and embraces it, which is why, like, you don't have, every movie doesn't have to be a fucking Academy Award winning film, right? Like, this movie just embraces what it
I
is,
want
which is
more like this. Like, lean in hard to the, like, this is studio. We're going over the top, but like, it's never gonna happen again because the producers and the bigwigs and the, like, they just don't fund movies like this anymore. And, like, because of streaming, even, like, hearing about, like, what, I didn't go and see Captain America. I don't think I will until it's on Plex. But it's like, even that movie had such a crazy budget, and it looks like a TV show, and it's stupid and all over the place and whatever. And I'm like, holy shit!
That movie actually looks better than, like Ant-Man and the Quantum Mania. That looked like a fucking TV show to me.
But even with that type of budget, they're not able to do what this did, like, over 20 years ago with half or less than half the budget.
Because practical effects, dude. Disney and Marvel at that time shoot half their movies on fucking screens with the giant screens behind them, and it don't make half the shit. They just use digital bullshit, and digital will never, ever, 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 ever feel as real as the.
It's because they're not. They're playing it scared the entire time. They're lighting it so that it can be changed later. They're not going all in one direction. They're allowing bigwigs to be like, no, change this, change this, change this. And that's why it's all CG. And that's why it all looks so shitty. And I want them to stop and do a lot more just, like, in camera and go all in on a script. And that's it. Instead of changing shit in post. Fuck off.
I mean, that's why, dude. That's why we love Psycho Goreman, right? Like, because Psycho Goreman is practical effects and like it
but
looks like a
it's
B movie,
amazing
but it
and
embraces
Canadian.
it embraces it, and it's a fucking I don't know, man. It's just like dude. That's why like one of my biggest tragedies in all of cinema was that 2011 Thing movie that had like they
Oh
shot
yeah.
completely with practical effects, and then they went in and fucking put horrific CG on top of it. Also, I played that Thing game, which is the sequel, which there are things in that game that I'm just like, what? What? It also feels really old, but like I had fun playing it, which is like a sequel to the Thing, which I had a good time with. But like, there are parts of the story that I'm like, what? No, no, no. I don't want to ruin them because Kim. I know Kim might play that someday, but
Which
the Thing game that came out, like they remastered it. The original Thing game came out in like 2004, and then they're
on
like
what?
and
PC?
on Xbox and PS2, I think it was. The
Okay.
original Xbox. So this is like 2004. They just
Thing
remastered it.
remastered. Oh yeah, it came out in December.
Yeah. And I like it, but that's the problem with remasters. Remasters don't fix quality of life things. They just make the graphics and then put it out again.
Oh
But
yeah, I see.
yeah. But it was fun. Like most of it was like a good time. Like you just wandered around the Antarctic and killing thing monsters for a couple 10 hours or something like that. But I had a good time with it. But yeah, that's the thing, man. Like just practical effects, man. It just makes that's why horror just doesn't do that as much. And I think horror with like CG guts and blood and stuff like that aren't just used to like accentuate stuff just doesn't work, right? And that's why these things are just like I think practical effects in horror will always be number one. And I don't know because it's real, man. Like it's really there. You're not like what? I don't know. I love things like you look at all my favorite horror movies, things like Alien, The Thing, like Gremlins, all the shit that you had real things running around on the screen and just being awesome and dope and scary and will never not be like better than CG. Like
they're going it I don't know. Like even with the newest Alien, a lot of the stuff was miniatures and practical and trickery, but then it was just like enhanced with and I want them to give like more movies to filmmakers that have that mentality. It's like, oh, let's do everything we can and then just make it look a little better in post instead of it being fucking so heavily reliant on it.
I mean, and we talked about it when we talked about Alien Romulus, like the whole like the baby alien thing was completely practical. Which I mean, it's just like I don't know. I think Fede Alvarez knows what the fuck is up. I mean, he doesn't do CG when he doesn't have to, right? He accentuates stuff, and that's what CG is best at. It's like I don't know. We have just before I went and saw Captain America today, but there's another trailer for Jurassic Park, and Jurassic Park. One of the reasons why Jurassic Park, I don't think people fully realize. I think people assume that the dinosaurs in the first Jurassic Park were all
I thought
CG.
they said they were going to take a break from it. Like they said they're going to take a break from that fucking franchise, and I was so happy because the last three were just garbage and so dumb. And yeah,
I liked the first one with the first one with Chris Pratt, but then that second one, it was okay where they were on the island and then they got to the fucking mansion and it was like a haunted house movie with Jurassic Park dinosaurs, and I was like, "Fuck this noise!" And I was like, "This is so bad." I never saw the one.
It was the worst of them all, and it was so tone deaf and directionless. It was just like, oh, here's a trailer scene, and there's no reason or rhyme or reason for any of those things to actually happen, and human beings wouldn't have put themselves in those situations just to get that particular shot that can be shown in the trailer. It was fucking garbage. It was so garbage. And I grew up, Jurassic Park was one of those movies that was like made me want to be a filmmaker because I
I
was
mean, that's
like,
what
holy fuck.
that movie was so mind blowing. It came out in what, 94 and or 93,
I was a
whatever it was.
kid and I was like, this
Yeah,
is just
yeah,
insane. And I already loved movies and but like that one like took me
yeah,
away and I was like, holy
yep,
shit, it's real.
yep.
This is
Okay,
real.
Ken, I want to know about the Juggernaut since we were talking about how they build this ghost up and then like don't ever give the Juggernaut any
I'm the
actual time
juggernaut,
to shine.
bitch.
I was looking for other juggernauts because I thought there was one in the cabin in the woods, but it looks like there's not one. And I think I was
Okay,
thinking of the like guy that was kind of like Hellraiser,
yeah,
or Pinhead. The Juggernaut, he is the ghost of a serial killer named Horace Breaker Mahoney. Standing 7 feet tall, he was of such grotesque height and appearance that everyone ostracized him as a child. His mother abandoned him at birth, so his father raised him, putting him to work in the junkyard, crushing old cars. After his father died, Horace was left on his own, soon went mad. He would pick up female hitchhikers and drive them to his junkyard, then tear them apart with his bare hands and feed them to his dogs. One day, he picked up an undercover police officer who called for backup for a SWAT team to surround the junkyard. Since close combat was impossible, the police instead struck the yard and arrested the giant. However, Horace broke free from the cuffs and 3 officers lost their lives. Quickly, 5 SWAT officers took out their guns and brought Horace down in a hail of bullets. When he finally went down, they shot an extra round into him just to be safe. His ghost still shows bullet holes all over his clothing and the wounds that finish him.
they don't show his ghost enough for you to even realize that. Like, you know what I mean? Uh,
Because he's the
this movie's
juggernaut.
cool. He's the Juggernaut. Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. I like this movie
Yeah.
a lot, though. It's just fun. It's like a fun horror movie that's like embraces the silly, embraces it, and just does a really cool. Like, yeah, we all know Matthew Lillard is the best, and he shouldn't have died, but we'll
Well, he
yeah,
didn't.
and
He's going to be in Scream again.
Mhm. I really hope that they don't do like we talked about, where
Like
they
the
have him just
splashy
as
back.
like a mirror character or like a splash or like whatever.
I mean, it was already bad enough with Billy supposed to be 18 and looking 53 instead, and trying to
He was
CGI.
in Scream
What do
3.
you mean?
What?
He's like, I just watched a random YouTube video that said Matthew Lillard just showed up one day on set just to like say hi when they were filming Scream 3, and the party scene was happening at like one of the sorority houses, and in the
Yeah.
background he actually makes it on. He's just out of focus and he had blonde hair because of something else he was filming, so you can't really tell that it's him, and he goes up and hugs someone. And then that's his whole thing in Scream 3, but he was legit in Scream 3 in the background of the party scene. I'm like, that's
He was
fucking cool.
He was originally, we were talking about this last week. He was originally supposed to be in it, or we were talking about it in Kim's stream the other day. And then
Yeah.
fucking Columbine happened, and then they didn't put him in. And then the
Yeah, that
clusterfuck
Scream
that
3
was
was
Scream
a
3.
fucking mess. And then Jay and
Yeah.
Silent Bob find their way in Scream 3 somehow, and Matthew Lillard doesn't. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I feel
don't
like
know,
Jay
man.
and Silent Bob found their way into everything somehow.
I love it.
'Cause
Like,
they're-
good for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
You ever had your asshole eaten by a fat man in an overcoat? I will forever. Yeah. You know what's funny is because Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back was my introduction to Jay and Silent Bob. Like, I'd never seen another
Really?
Kevin Smith movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
shit. Like, I was obsessed with Kevin Smith back in the
Yeah.
day. So,
Yeah.
like,
Well, I mean, then
we
I
were all the
was,
way.
but yeah.
Clerks.
Okay.
We watched Mallrats on fucking repeat, just like over and over. Mallrats was
Hey,
like
I just
my
love all.
jam.
little man, put that shit in my hand.
hand.
If you don't, you owe me.
No, if the money doesn't
Show.
if the money doesn't
Oh.
show, then you owe me. My jungle love.
My bad.
I think I want to know ya. Hey, what? Hey, can I get a nickel bag? $15, little man. Put that shit in my hand. If the money doesn't
what was
show,
the
then you
last
owe
one?
me.
Because they did another Jay and Silent Bob reboot, and then Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
Or wait, did he?
They
yeah,
did
Kevin
Clerks.
Smith brought it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I met Jay and Kevin at the small theater in my fucking city because they were on tour with the
I-
small cast shit.
I still have never seen Clerks 3, by the way. I
It
need to watch
It's
it.
broke
so
me.
good. Seriously.
Yeah.
Like, and I love that I saw it in this like theater that I got my start making like short films, won my
Yeah.
first award there with Ben, and we were watching it, and it's like this whole movie is like it's too close to home for like, you know, us
Yeah.
being here together at this time after like, you know, growing up together, and oh man, it broke me too. We're
Yeah,
like there
I cried.
crying, some of the only people in the theater, like, ah.
And the thing was though is that I don't have a deep connection to the Clerks movies. I don't have a deep connection to Jay and
Yeah.
Silent Bob. Like I don't even think I've seen the second one. I probably have and
But
just don't
it's
remember. So
it's
like
because
a
Kevin
lot
Smith
of
wrote a
the
good movie. That's it.
like a lot of the stuff in the movie I didn't get or like I had to ask or
Oh,
whatever. We watched it in
okay.
Discord, but there were certain moments in that movie that just destroyed me. And by
Yeah.
the end, I was crying and I was cursing Ralph out because it was his idea to watch it. And oh,
It's
Dude,
because
that was
Kevin Smith, like, when he had his heart attack thing and was like
mhm.
on his deathbed, essentially, he had an awakening moment in his, and he's like, oh wow, and a lot of other things started getting clicked into perspective for him, and his writing now reflects that. He's a lot more caring and has heartfelt movies now, and instead of
Yeah.
them just being completely dumb and childish humor and just about getting that next laugh and being stoners or whatever, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
you can actually write about like human drama
Emotion.
and
Yeah.
emotion, and his movies,
Yeah.
all of his movies have been so much better since that happened.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh wow.
Dude, I watched What Dreams May Come for the first time the other night, and holy shit, dude. That movie broke me on a level that I didn't expect. I was like crying like a fucking baby.
I
The
don't think
Robin
I've
Williams
seen
movie.
I know I haven't seen that one.
Oh. You want a good cry, Ken? You want a good cry? Oh,
I don't like crying
because there were
all the time.
they suicide. How they handle suicide in that movie is just like, yeah. Okay, let's wrap up. Are we gonna do the monkey next week?
Yeah, I think so. I will know absolutely for sure probably in a day or so because
Okay, cool.
my friend
If we
and I are
don't do
gonna
the monkey, we'll pick something randomly and we'll just show up with it.
but
Like
Otherwise,
I
Outbreak.
will be seeing it. It just I don't
Okay.
know. I think it'll be that I'll see it this weekend, but I don't know
Okay,
yet.
cool. If it's not the monkey, we'll figure something else out. Maybe we do. I don't know if I want to do it. Let's be. If we don't do the monkey, maybe we do the Black Coat's daughter, so we could finish out the Osgood Perkins. Have you seen that movie, Josh?
Which?
The Black Coat's daughter. It's
No.
It was Osgood Perkins' first movie, and it is a fucking weird one, man.
No, I haven't seen it.
Like, yeah, it is. It's pretty acclaimed. Like a lot of people really loved it, but it's a hard one to follow kind of movie.
With
but-
Emma
Oh, it's
Roberts.
got some cute girls in it.
Yeah, Emma Roberts is in it. Oh, we'll do that as our backup. Like if you guys are cool with that. So
Yeah,
we'll
you've
do
talked
one-
about this before, and I
Yeah.
still didn't.
Okay, cool. We'll do that. We'll do one of those two movies next week. So, okay. Joshy, Washy, Pooh, where's all your stuff you want people to find?
WRBdesign.co. Working on a lot of things. Go and do it.
Yes. Go do the Josh. You can find all my stuff at Rod_Johnston on Twitch and Blue Sky and all that stuff. So, and Ken.
Twitch.tv/Kintinue, KINTINUE. I'm playing the Talos Principle now. I don't know what I'll be playing by the time this comes out.
Nice. Oh, Ken, I did that thing yesterday where I thought I hit end stream and I was sitting there with live, and luckily I didn't pull my dick out or something like that and get banned from Twitch permanently. But
How
yeah,
long did you sit like that?
I think it was like half an hour or something like that.
Oh,
Finally, I
fuck.
had people text messaging me going, Rod,
I've
your
done
stream's still
that.
live.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
We've
think that
all
what I
done
did
it.
was
Yeah.
I think the thing is, so Katie has her one mouse set on her streaming PC as a left-handed mouse.
Mhm.
So I think I clicked the left button instead of the right
Oh.
button.
Yeah.
And
That would do
so-
it. That would do
Yep.
it.
Okay, fuckers. Well, I love you, and we'll see everyone next week. So maybe Brian will be back. I think Brian's getting tired of podcasting. Okay, love you guys. We'll see you soon.
Bye. Anal cavity.